We thought, and in fact, for those of you that were at our dinner last night, we thought we'd make this a little bit different from your usual conferences. I've been to many conferences where seafarers are usually dragged in as the last panel to kind of tick the box. And we wanted them to be front and center because of all the conversations that the preceding panels and the preceding presenters have introduced. We obviously are aware that they are going to be at the heart of this industry's future. And we're also aware that the sort of training they're currently getting, the preparation they're currently getting, is not going to get them through what is coming, through this revolution, this technological revolution, this green revolution that's coming. And so we thought, rather than us talking to each other and sort of operating in our own silos, we should perhaps talk to the people who, A, will be driving this, and B, will be subjected to this revolution. So very happy to have a qualified panel, a panel that is as diverse as we can make it, because we have very experienced engineers, very experienced deck officers, but also two members of the future seafaring population here with us. And the idea is for us to try and understand, A, what they've been exposed to so far, B, what they think we should be doing differently for their future. And perhaps the whole idea of involving the cadets is also to understand what academia is currently doing, and there might actually be some hints for academia representatives in the room, and there is a few today, which may help them shape the form of their courses. Because at the end of the day, one of the many things IMEC is trying to do is to create a link between academia and the world of employment. And it's one team that is very, very close to my heart. It's one of the reasons why I am on the advisory board of the Warsaw Maritime Academy, and I try and link with academia whenever I can. And that's not just because of IMEC's interest. It's obviously clear that we try and work with academia in the Philippines and in India and so forth because we've got a vested interest there. The relationship with Warsaw is a little bit different. So, yes, having introduced our seafarers, what I perhaps wanted to do is start with a question. A question perhaps for the experienced seafarers first, so we'll perhaps start with Juri and ask him about new and, more importantly, green technologies. What's been your exposure so far, if any at all? And more importantly, how has that changed the way you do your job?
Let's say nobody can imagine approximately 30 years ago about emission control, green energy, ballast water treatment system, and other things. Now it's really highly effective. What I should say? Big changes. Machine makers, they create new equipment, and as my colleagues also talk about it, since the delivery of the vessel, we're faced with the problem, the crew, well-trained crew. The training is cost a lot, and as a result of this, maybe first crew who was in charge to take vessel from shipyard, they know very well equipment, but next crew, they already not know so well equipment and they face problem. If before we just talk about simple engine, simple boilers, another system, now it's more electronic, more automatization, fit everywhere. And problem is not only crew as well, it's also electronic. Because short trade, you always have besides some service facility, workshops and other things, but if vessel trade around the world, sometimes 40 days at sea, sometimes 30, depend of voyage. this way to keep equipment in a good condition, and if in case of any malfunction, to bring him back. It's really creates sometimes big problem. For example, I could say some makers really surprised that our equipment not connect to internet. Really, yeah. If we call to a maker and during warranty period we ask, okay, we see the malfunction, equipment shows some wrong value or something like this, and makers ask, okay, just we would like to connect via internet to your equipment and we will adjust everything what needs to be done. And sorry, our internet is still Flintstone internet. We have speed 40 kilobytes. Imagine what you can do with this internet, almost nothing. Somehow we survive, but let's say at present time, if we talk about electronic automatization, sometimes the technology is going too fast, much ahead than we can support and handle situation under our control. Unfortunately, it's true. Same with the crew members. After one contract, if they're well trained, if they know, if they have certificates, if they know how to use the equipment, due to some reason, they decide to quit to other company. And some company faced with problem where they get again crew for the electronic, high electronic vessel, high equipment now. Unfortunately, it's not so easy at this time. What I suppose the maker, if they produce some new equipment during warranty period, it really should be like mandatory to, during this warranty period, they should take care about preparation and training crew for a vessel. Otherwise, it's like problem from nothing. It's problem not only for the mine engine or for some steam equipment or treatment, it's for everything. It's from radar up to ballast cargo system, with the control. Of course, it will be good if we could have chance to see on board backup system for any equipment. It will be maybe old-fashioned equipment, but also in a high electronic equipment as well. So in this case of any problem, we can change over to simple way, and but okay.
Okay, I think let me stop you there.
Because
otherwise we go into a very technical conversation.
Further.
So if I could pick up a couple of themes from what you just said. One is he's saying Bilal was right. He was worried about what happens with new equipment, new technology that's put on your ship after it's left the yard. When the next replacement crew arrives, they're not trained, and obviously you face issues.
Absolutely.
The other thing I probably wanted to pick up from what you said is internet connectivity. It's a gimme for everyone else around the world on the ships. You guys find yourself in the Stone Age sometimes. Yeah. And that obviously, I'm sure, is not necessarily true about every ship, and there are some vessels that have the right sort of connectivity, but clearly you're saying that's another big obstacle.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, really important in people. As we talked before,
that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about people.
That's people,
the important part.
It's key person, key word. Now we can see that people don't want to work at sea. Let's say...
Hold that thought. Let me explore the initial question first with the others, and then we'll talk about why people don't want to work at sea, and maybe what kind of people don't want to work at sea. Aleksandr, do you want to pitch in with your view about what new technology is doing to your job and how that changes the way you do your job.
Yeah, I think I'm working on a tanker fleet, and I think the tanker fleet is the last fleet to get in touch with the new technologies. It's a pity, but it's a fact, because usually new technologies are developed on the cruise ships, on I think maybe container vessels, but the tanker fleet is like old-fashioned.
Traditional. Traditional.
Yeah. The ship owners mostly care about how much tons of cargo you can handle. And the more you can get, the more money, the more profit you get from this. But if you can drive with the paper charts, why should I install the EGDIS on board and pay extra money? Mm-hmm. So that's the problem. And before the ship owners are forced by some convention or any new laws, they are not equipping the ships with a new technology.
So your experience is you're not exposed to a lot of new technology?
No,
That's what you're saying.
no. I'm only hearing about this, and I'm totally not afraid to get some new equipment on board and get some training, because it's always interesting to develop yourself and be on the high end.
See, that's interesting, because one of the next questions I was going to ask the four of you is, are you afraid of when this stuff comes on the ships?
Totally not. I think on shore, the crewing companies will make sure that we will get good training for the new technologies before we go on board. And I think it's only the good thing to have some improvements on board, because when you're driving the Flintstone car, it's not so interesting. You want to drive a new Mercedes. Yeah.
Well, or a Fiat.
Or Fiat.
Well, we're not going to be biased. Other brands are available. Thank you, Aleksandrs. Let's go to Olga, perhaps, because I want to hear about your experience both during your college and perhaps when you did your bit at sea. Okay. I want to understand whether, A, you were thought about new technology, new fuels, and so on and so forth, and B, whether when you got there, any of it was already on board.
Okay, if we will start from college, it's not so much about new technologies, because as for me, seafarers should know a lot of basics. So in college, they are giving us just this basic, and all another important information you can take from practice. And when I joined the vessel, I start see a lot of technologies which we were not even talking about, and such as scrubber to minimize emission of sulfur, and ballast water treatment system, and also when I was on my first vessel, company bring on board robots which can clean cargo holds. It's on bulk carriers. So if usually it took a lot of time and resource, human resource and chemicals and water, these robots can reduce time, also reduce amount of fresh water which used, and chemicals. So
that's an interesting one, because the use of robot in a place like that does exactly what everyone is talking about when it comes to digitalization, but also automation, because it's removing something that was one of those dull, dangerous, and dirty jobs, which we want machines to be doing instead of humans. Every conference I go to, they talk about these 3Ds. I think that's interesting that you picked up on that.
For that time, it was like they just were showing that it's possible, but it was done by shore crew. And they giving us information that it's still possible just by 2-3 people arrange this work and not to lose a lot of time and human resource.
Okay, that's interesting. So, if I can paraphrase, not a lot of exposure to new fuels, new technology in college, but when you got on board, there was stuff there that was a bit, well, sort of unexpected. You're saying about ballast water and scrubbers. You didn't learn about any scrubbers in college?
It was just like we have something like this, but not so much information that it's on most vessels now. Because as I saw, in my company, I was on 3 vessels, and on 2 of them it was scrubber, and on all of them was ballast water treatment system. But in college we were talking like it's something which is not so used.
Okay, thank you for that. Denver, I'd like to bring you in now because you are the greenest of the panel, I suppose. You haven't been on a ship yet.
Not yet.
You've done your what, 3rd year?
Yeah.
You're on a 3-1?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're about to go on a ship.
Yeah.
So tell us about your experience at MAP.
Well,
And specifically here, now we're talking about new technologies,
Yeah.
green technologies and so on, for your exposure.
in our academy, we have this robotics laboratory, wherein it is in a preparation for our incoming maritime autonomous surface ship simulator next year. It's already approved by our institution. And then we also have this blockchain technology there. The blockchain technology also is actually important, like the COC. We already have the electronic wallet over there. And then it's actually not only an electronic wallet, it's basically a preparation for our electronic TRB, electronic workbooks, electronic C projects, like that. And also additional is the decarbonization, what does decarbonization looks like, but it's beyond the academics. We have this weekly seminar, weekly session seminar, which is focused on, I think, the awareness of cadets. Like, they are actually not perplexed about these ideas. So, decarbonization, what does decarbonization looks like? What does green technology looks like? The green methanol, that's it. And also with regards to that, since I am the deck, I've asked my my colleagues, engine cadets, if what are they doing to, what are they learning? They have mentioned about the M2 electronically gas-induced, gas injection engine, the MEGI, like that, some sort of that. I think that's future fuels, or that's it. And basically, overall, I'm exposed already, and the thing is, we really need an in-depth analysis of it, and we are anticipating for it. And one thing is, since I have not yet been on board, I am really looking forward for the actual ECDIs. Because my only exposure is simulator. Every week we have this simulator in our academy, and then we will going to depart from a certain port, for example, from Algeciras port to Port of Cadiz, that's it. And then all of the crew is cadets, like us, and we don't have any exposure. We don't have any exposure on board. So what are we going to do as captain? What are we going to do as chief engineers? All of it are cadets. So we have one instructor to tell us what's happening, what's wrong at the end of the day. So that's it. And the thing is, we master the ECDIS. I think, the thing is, if it is actually the ECDIS simulator is the same as the simulator in onboard, I think basically a little bit of minor errors, but the mastery is there. I think that's what cadets need, the simulator, the practice. Even if it is not actually looks like that, but the thing is, we need to apply it. We should not only study. We should not only learn about it. We should apply with it.
Do I hear a preference for a 2-1-1 system rather than a 3-1? So you do 2 years of college, then you go and apply, and then you come back to college to finish your course? Is that, am I reading between the lines there? Do you think that would be a better approach? Because that's the approach of a number of organizations, but of course there's also the 3-1 approach that you have.
There's one IAMO student the World Maritime University student to survey me about what is actually my insight about the 211 and the 31. Basically, I really want 3-1 cadets, a 3-1 scheme. It's because if I am a 211 and then I only learn 2 years, I haven't even have the basic, I only learned the basic of it. I didn't even finish what actually the stability is all about, because that is actually the last stage, the advanced stream stability. So I really need complete course before I'm going to go on board, because yeah, with me, I'm a little bit intimidated. I don't have any information yet I go on board like that.
Excellent, very good. I think that will inform some of our conversations with MAP when we look at offering the 2 courses at the same time. Very good. This is a subject I love, and it's probably something I'd want to talk about for a long time, but perhaps in the interest of keeping us on more than just one subject. And Juri had introduced the one about why people don't want to come back to sea. So what's your assessment? Because you've been out there for, as you said, 30 years.
Oh, actually,
so when you were going to sea, there were reasons why you were going to sea. Is your perception that those reasons are no longer there? Have things changed? And if so, what has changed?
No, yeah, it's a few reasons why people quit from sea, even don't want to work over there. Just imagine, every day when you wake up, it's Monday. And during 6 or for
I've never heard it said that
months,
way. That's a good one.
Yeah, imagine, yeah. After that, when you're back, you're a little bit out of order. Sure, it's maybe very politely. After 9 months, back home, and you're out of order, yeah, you're a little bit lost. It's one thing, of course. Let's say 30 years ago, vessel loading, discharging in a port, it was quite, take maybe 1 week, maybe 5 days or something. Now, 50,000 gross tonnage tanker, 1 night out. 1 night out. And even if you arrive to Houston or Rotterdam, it's really nightmare, because Port State Authority, supply, bunker, loading, discharging, also from tanker fleet, it's really push you out from this, like, let's say, the people who first voyage over there, that thing, what I forget here, better I go bus driver, salary almost the same. Yeah, because actually, if we will take our salary, you should pay taxes, social, and other taxes, and the rest, yeah, you don't have so big profit. If compare between people who work ashore, it's really not much. And at least you have Saturday and Sunday, and not every day Monday, as I said before.
Okay. So if I'm hearing you right, it's more intense than it ever was, shorter calls. It's not as profitable as it used to be.
Absolutely.
Lots of paperwork, lots of pressure.
Amount.
So, okay, how does that compare? Olha, you are at the beginning of your career. Is that how you see it? And do you get that view? Or are there other issues why you think there's less people trying to get into this industry? Is it competition? Are there other jobs out there that are perhaps painting a better picture?
I think that for different people, it's different reasons. Like for somebody, it's that they cannot see their families for a long time. For somebody that you're actually all the time under pressure, under stress, because you're working all the time. And you can just sleep and woke up like this and start your day for a lot of hours. And maybe also it can be like you, from the beginning, when you study, you can think that it will be in one way. When you come and join the vessel, you can see another picture. And for now, I can see that the people who are working for a long time at sea, they said that it's completely different now. If before you was actually working as a seafarer, now you start working with paper too much, and sometimes job which were taking less time, now takes maybe twice or thrice time just to collect evidence and make report. So for some
Bureaucracy.
people, maybe it's not nice, maybe not what they expected.
Okay, well, thank you. Aleksandrs, do you want to give us your perspective? You've been out there for a long time. You got to the master's position. If anyone gets paperwork, that's you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Nowadays, you only do the paperwork. And personally, I hate paperwork. When I was working as a chief, I like cleaning the tanks. I like loading, discharging. But when it comes to these paperwork, as Olga said, like,
You got into this job with a picture, and the picture changed.
yeah,
Okay.
drastically.
Okay.
And it's getting worse and worse.
What is your perception as far as young generations, your newcomers? Why are there less and less of them that come to see? Certainly from certain countries. I mean, there are other countries where the profession is booming, but...
I think they are disappointed with what they see in the
Okay.
first voyage.
Tell me more. This is one that I want to tease out.
I want to say, I agree with Juri that nowadays you come in port, before you're coming to the port and you have this opportunity to relax, to go to the city, just to walk, to do something else other than sitting on the ship. But now you're coming, you have these inspections, port states, CDIs.
It's ITF inspectors. Yeah.
ITF it's okay. They're nice guys, but the guys
like
from
you
the
guys.
oil majors, that's the guys who make you the most headache. Yeah. And you cannot, even as a captain, you cannot let anybody go, especially officers, because there will be questions to them. How they do, as Olga said, you need to not just to do your job, but you need to prove that you did it.
Okay.
Nobody, here on shore, you're not sentenced while the criminal is that they prove that you did something wrong. But on the ship, you automatically did something wrong unless you proved you did it right.
Wow, that's very powerful. That's
So-
very powerful there. That's
And
strong soundbite.
yeah, and you all the time you need to prove that you're right, you're doing the right things. And
Okay. So, as a follow-up, do you have kids?
yeah, one son.
Would you recommend your son?
No.
Okay. See, that's the clincher there, isn't it?
I will do everything for him not to go to the sea.
Okay. Denver, does that scare you?
Change your mind.
Tell us more, Denver. What is your expectation? What are you looking forward to? Because, more importantly, why did you get into this job? Why did you choose this as a career? Before we then talk about whether you're afraid of what they're telling you.
Yeah. Basically, majority of the Filipino would like to answer it as financial. It's because of the financial state, our financial status over there. Mm-hmm. And right now, I have come to realize that there's more to see. I mean, yeah, I'm in optimistic side. I think there's more to see. There's more opportunity rather than just sailing. That's it. So I think I am looking forward for it.
Okay. Despite everything they're telling you.
Yeah.
Are you planning on giving up TikTok and Facebook on a regular basis? How is that going to work?
I am hoping that the internet connectivity will be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the reality is, certainly you, at the cadet stage, both you and Olha are looking forward to more technology being introduced to
Exactly.
vessels, even if it is just about getting better connectivity. Because, I mean, as I said, I attend some of these conferences and I hear a lot about how important that is for a new generation. I have 3 kids myself, and for them, Wi-Fi is a human right. And if Wi-Fi is not working, it's a violation of their human rights. I'm probably going to be referred somewhere. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting feedback. Again, another area that I'm fascinated by, because I always try and understand. Because you see, when I look at, well, let's use the UK, but there's other countries where this may be the case. When I look at that, I look at the seafaring profession as one that, A, provides you with free education, and a well-earning job. That's the positives. But now I heard a couple of negatives there that make you think, make you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe that's the sort of stuff that the industry should be focusing on. I see there's a question from Colin. It says, disruption is here to stay and it's only getting worse. What soft skill would the panel like to receive development in to meet this need? That's an interesting one. Well, you know what, I'll start from Denver because I know we do something in MAB. And maybe that's the sort of stuff. Soft skills. What sort of soft skills would you like to receive, or are you receiving at MAB when it comes to the disruption that is brought about by technology?
Yeah, that's basically alarming because right now, the artificial intelligence is so rampant right now that even in just one click, you can get a 500-word essay. Yeah, and then a lot of cadets is actually, a lot of person is actually relying on that one. And the thing is, the soft skill that has to be maintained is the managerial skill. Like, you have to maintain the technical skills about it. That you have to maintain the leadership is good, the teamwork is good, but the managerial...
Are you getting training in those soft skills and leadership and management?
Exactly. Inside the academy, we have this officers. A lot of officers and a lot of organizations over there. We have actually 47 organizations. I mean, those clubs and organizations are working differently on their path. And then we have this fleet officers who would like to maintain or control the discipline of the fleet. And then what makes it amazing is it's another topic, but it's regardless of gender. Like, women can
We'll talk about that if we have time. I think that's probably another one on my hit
that's
list.
it. But that's the good thing about us. So we have to discipline our colleagues. Actually, we are not called as the first year or the second year. We are called as the first class, the second class, the third class, and the fourth class. That means that we have these cadets over us, below, under us, who we would like to look up to, that you have to strive hard because I am here to look up to you. Like, for example, for me, I have this upperclassmen already on board because they are 211 while I am 31. So when they return back to the academy, they were going to tell me, "Oh, this is what you have to do. This is how you don't have to do with it." So that in that way, the mentoring is actually good. It's actually effective for us to inspire, not to deviate from the path that we are actually taking. That's it.
Okay, that's interesting. Holka, what's your perspective? Were you being given soft skills, leadership skills, and so on and so forth at college?
If we are talking about soft skill, for me it will be very nice to have, we already said, technical something, just to know how to arrange these reports for job. And this, if you have desire, you can do by yourself. But for me, I think that the most important is to know how to handle the people, because in the future, all we trying to become management level. And as I know, in our company, we have some courses for management level, how to manage the people. So I think in this way, something like this.
Okay. Well, let's talk to the people that do manage people. Aleksandrs, did you get any training? Or you were natural? Or was your technical mastery the one thing that was needed and then you had to become a natural leader just because you had the certificate?
I think that the road to the management level is quite long, and the most of the training you get on board, not on shore, because you're getting on practical scenes and you see how your senior officers are managing the stress, the problems, and you teach from them directly. I think it's the best way to learn management skills in practice, not like on the slide or by book. That's what I think.
Juri, do you agree?
Yes, I agree. I suppose just only practice can bring you to management level. Because, stress situation, how you lead the team, how it's work, You cannot read a book because, okay, you can read a book, many of them, but in real situation, you can be lost and end of story. And yeah, management is just only practice. Even sometimes not practice, it should be character of person. Someone, after many years work at sea, but still, because you have to take into account also different nation who work beside you. There are different rules, different regulation, and you have to take into account every time. What I can do with, for example, with Aleksandr, I never allowed to do with our cadet because it's different.
I see you've just opened the door to Natalie's question there. She's saying, is leadership on board directive or inclusive? What's your thoughts? Because it sounded directive from what you were saying, but...
No, not so simple question.
Not a simple question, I know.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank you, Natalie.
Aleksandr maybe first.
Master first.
Master first.
Yeah, there you go. What are your thoughts, Aleksandr? Are you a directive leader or are you an inclusive leader?
I think it depends on the situation.
Okay.
Sometimes you can be one and sometimes you can be another. It's always depends. And as
You can or you have to be?
I think you have to be.
Okay.
That's a better way to say it. Because you have, as Juri said, different nationalities. You need to be specific with the guys. You need to know what they're expecting from you and what you're expecting from them and what you can achieve with them. And as I said, yeah, I think it's situation specific.
Okay, very good. Okay. I'm just conscious of the fact that the questions are piling up on there and I need to put them to you. There's one of them that's got 4 thumbs up, so it must be a good question. What is that? What would the panel's suggestion be on how to improve their lives on board and therefore attract more people in the industry? We're going back to one of the original questions. Holka, I'll take you whilst the 2 more senior officers are rereading the questions. They're obviously visual learners.
What can be...
Yeah, what should the industry do to make your lives on board better and then attract more people to the industry?
First of all, maybe it's internet, as we said before, because you can at least see your family and if you're under stress, to have some conversation.
Well, what about conversing with fellow crew members? Is that no longer? I'm old here. I'm showing my age. When I was at sea and you had stress and issues, you would reach out to fellow crew members. Of course, I was on passenger ship, so we had plenty of option. Nowadays on cargo ship, there's not too many people. Is that a symptom? Is that one of the reasons why? I mean, is the community on board shrinking and hence the quality of conversations deteriorating? Is that what we're saying?
Maybe also exists, and maybe also because you see same faces for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Juri, what do you think? What do we need to do to bring more people to sea?
Of course, I agree, internet.
Okay.
Because someone like to see TikTok, connect family, see some movies and other things. Second question is, of course, salary.
Okay.
I meet with just few guys who was really sea lover, who even after contract, who have their own yacht, and after that they continue sailing with a family. Just only a couple of them. Most people work for money. And of course, the level of salary should be higher than you can expect if you stay on shore facility, if you're some engineer or you work in a port or something like this. It's a really important thing. And of course, term of contract.
Length.
Sorry?
Length.
Yeah. Because if you sign, for example, first contract at sea and they are sign contract for 4 months and no relief after 5 months, no relief after 6 months, it was not COVID. It was not COVID problem. And of course, after that, they said, what, I forget here. I'm quit, I finish, I get my diploma and...
So as an industry, we need to be better at
we'll
providing
find a better
reliefs.
place where
But of
evening
course,
time-
it's one of those it's a dog that chases his tail, because if people don't join, you don't have reliefs. Well, you know, no, but it's a very pointed one for our
Yeah,
checklist.
it's really, really important, especially if you work for one company, okay, you see good relation and suddenly due to some reason you quit to another company. And when you, actually it's also important the relation between you and office. If you're just only a number for the office, and it should be something else between superintendent, captain, fleet manager, operator, something really different. But if you're just only like a robot, you just after them.
You don't feel valued.
It bring you to shortly. You will be disappointed from the way what you can say, especially for the junior officer. If they suddenly realized it's what not they expect when they study in Marine College. Maybe he was lucky when he was a practice cadet. Maybe he was a good vessel, a good relation, and suddenly, welcome to the dark side of the moon.
I call that the I don't. There's actually a lot of professionals, they call it the psychological contract. And if you break that contract by promising something and delivering something completely different, that's one of the key reasons for turnover in any industry. And of course, it applies here, it applies to ships. Aleksandr, what's your view on what we should be doing to attract more people to sea?
I think that people on shore should treat us as humans, not as robots.
Okay.
And when you have this feeling, this view that they care about you, then you want to work for them. Otherwise,
Sense of belonging.
Otherwise, there's nothing you can do. You're just quitting or going to another company because you see that, I don't know how to say it in good words, when they don't give up on you.
Okay, understood. Message received, yeah?
Yeah, so I think the most important is human relation.
Okay.
Because we're not...
And whether that comes through TikTok or through... Because I can see that there's a disparity of views between the different generations we have on this panel.
Yeah, because we are not machines, and when as Juri said, when the crewing department is saying you're signing off in export, and in export they're saying you're signing off in export, and it's happening for 2 months, and you cannot handle it anymore.
Okay, well, that's very good. Well, thank you very much. I'm getting signals that we're running out of time. I wanted to tackle diversity, but I am aware that the next panel will be talking about diversity. So, and that next panel also contains seafarers. So perhaps we will wrap it up so that I can let the next panel explore that more fully, even though it was on my hit list. But time is time, and we want to make sure that we don't overshoot. So, thank you. Thank you for your kind and very candid feedback. And I think that's the sort of stuff, the sort of powerful feedback that we should all be listening to and taking on board when we plan our crewing strategy going forward. It's very useful, and I think it's valuable that you've actually felt comfortable enough to share some of your challenges. I am impressed with particularly with the young ones' willingness to join the industry despite some of the obvious challenges we've been discussing today. And hopefully this will help us shape a better industry for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.